Have you heard of the word Luddite? It's kind of becoming a trend in the youth of today when it comes to technology.
America's youth are hopelessly addicted to tech, and it's only getting worse. So is it time for drastic measures?
Everyone's addicted to them. And by the way, we're all more depressed, we're all more isolated, and the phones are causing it.
Some kids in New York City bucking the trend, ditching smartphones for flip phones to disconnect from social media.
For me, technology makes it a lot easier to be disconnected from reality. You're numbing your brain, you're not really processing anything, you're just entertaining yourself. That is a lot of times what technology is used for. Being more present in your life and in your community, in your actions and in who you are.
In this growing trend, kids are abstaining from their smartphones, social media, and other vices that come with new technology. Since 2008, when I first pleaded and begged my mom and dad for an iPhone, I've had some kind of a smartphone. Apple made this thing that just made you feel like you needed it.
This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
The internet at my fingertips, knowledge at a moment's notice, music, movies, games, boredom was dead. It didn't even stand a chance. I sometimes think back to how it was before the smartphone. The days of AOL Instant Messenger, phone calls for several hours at a time with your friends because you didn't text all day or see each other on social media. Innocence of just not knowing something was happening in the world at that exact moment. In some ways, blissful is the word that comes to mind when I think of that time, that era in my life. The reason the teenagers are ditching their smartphones for dumb phones is because, as they say in the aforementioned articles above, they want their minds back. As one teenager named Lola tells the New York Times, "When I got my flip phone, things instantly changed. I started using my brain. It made me observe myself as a person. I've been trying to write a book too. It's like 12 pages now." So is it just the phone in general? Is it social media and the addiction to it? Is it just the fact that we have become so accustomed that whenever we feel the instance of boredom creeping in, that we just pull out the old smartphone and take selfies or start scrolling? Well, it's a little bit of all of that for me anyway. I am Karl and I'm addicted to my phone. And I'm not making fun of addiction in any way. The average person's time using smartphones in 2022, according to recent data, the average person spends 3 hours and 15 minutes on their phone each day. And 1 in 5 smartphone users spends upwards of 4.5 hours on average on their phones every day. Perhaps surprisingly, weekdays average more smartphone use than weekends. This is from an article explodingtopics.com did on smartphone usage stats. I'll leave it down in the description. So let's do a little math here real quick. If the average person spends 3 hours and 15 minutes a day, and we'll be generous and just round it down to 3 hours a day on their smartphone, that's 63 hours in a week. That's more time than we work in a week if you work a 40-hour-a-week job. That's 252 hours a month. That is 221 hours more than the average person exercises. The average person exercises around 30 minutes to an hour every day, so we'll give them a benefit of the doubt and just say an hour a day. So that's 30 to 31 hours a month of exercise. That's 3,024 hours a year staring at the screen. For reference, I will bring this back to the working hours. For the average American, we spend 1,678 hours per year working. 1,256 hours is the difference there. That is almost another full-time job on our cell phones alone. Now, I am fully aware that the cell phone is not all bad, and this is more of a human problem than a tech problem. Mental health is the real issue here when it comes to the cell phone use and tech use in general. Social media, news, and content are the grabbers that always lure us back into the depths of the screen. It's boredom. The Mayo Clinic writes, "A little boredom for children and adults can be a good thing. It can stimulate creativity and problem solving while giving the brain time to recharge." That article is in the description down below also if you would like to read that for yourself. It is hard to sit still and do nothing, or take pen to paper, or even write this script for this video that you're watching right now. It can be rewarding also though. To sit with one's own thoughts is quite pleasant, and for the last month I've been doing this. I recently switched to a flip phone, a dumb phone. I am now one of those Luddites and part of the Luddite group that the kids are calling it these days. I have honestly seen an increase in productivity, fitness, my mental strength. I read a lot more now, I write a lot more now, I study things I find interesting, kind of like the content for this video. I still do use my smartphone for several things, however. I'll use it for podcasts when I'm driving, I'll plug it in and download the podcasts and play them. Also for my smartwatch, as I track my fitness and weight, and it's just easier to do it through there than the computer. The other is this teleprompter that I use right now, as it's for my smartphone and it's just easy. I don't want to read off a piece of paper. So those are really the three things I use my smartphone for now. Kind of like having an old school iPod or something like that. That's kind of how I see it. Overall has been pretty nice. A little more peaceful, a little bit slower, and a little more analog. Now if I want to use social media, I have to be on my computer. It's not the same feeling for sure, and I find myself looking at it a lot less. This has helped a lot when it comes to my productivity and my mental strength. I struggled a lot before I did this with spending my mornings drinking my coffee and just looking at the world through my phone. Taking in other people's perspectives on things instead of forming my own, and just spending my time bored instead of stimulated all the time. To wrap this up in a nice bow and land the plane, I think we've taken the blue pill when it comes to our world in some ways. When it comes to tech and smartphones in general, I feel that we're on the path to an ordinary reality, a reality that is on autopilot and doesn't move us forward. So what do? Maybe you take the red pill and embrace the willingness to learn a potentially unsettling or life-changing truth about one's own habits. Definitely pulling from the Matrix there. All right, that's enough for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this content interesting, and let me know if you want me to make more like this in the future. Hit that like button or dislike button. I get it. The truth is kind of hard to accept. Follow me if you want to. I appreciate that, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.